Coming up next on Marketplace, we'll be back with All Things Considered at 7 o'clock tonight. Right now here in Lower Manhattan, 53 degrees. It's clear outside. We're going to see temperatures in the low 40s overnight. And then for tomorrow in our area, high around 58 in the afternoon. Rain is possible tomorrow evening. If we see that rain, there's a better chance of it happening after midnight. Stick around. It's WNYC at just about 6:30.
WNYC support comes from RSM, working to empower middle-market businesses to navigate change with strategies and execution designed to help conquer disruption. RSM. Experience the power of being understood.
This is WNYC, 93.9 FM and AM 820, NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Marketplace is supported by You.com, AI search infrastructure for the enterprise. YOU.com/marketplace.
Government data or no government data, we got you covered. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by LHH. LHH is a global talent solutions and advisory company using craft, human care, and innovation to create a beautiful working world. Recruitment, development, career transition. Learn more at lhh.com/beautiful. And by Schwab. Schwab knows that investors want control of their financial future. That's why when it comes to wealth management, Schwab is dedicated to giving investors more choices. More at schwab.com. And by Ninja One, helping organizations manage, protect, and support every device and every user, all from one platform that automates IT and strengthens security. More at ninjaone.com.
I'm Kyle Rizdal. It is Monday today, October the 27th. Good as always to have you along, everybody. If you are one of those who keeps track, this is day 27 of the government shutdown, a day on which the Census Bureau would have given us its latest data on orders for durable goods. Big, expensive stuff supposed to last 3 years or more. Obviously, we in the business and economic press are without said data, but we are not without ideas. So we are looking instead today to a certain Michigan-based manufacturer, Whirlpool, purveyor of some of those aforementioned big expensive things meant to last for a while. Marketplace's Matt Levin gets us going with the home appliance market and what that might tell us about the broader economy.
Mackenzie Dahl is the sales manager at Kitchen Kings in Gunter, Texas. It sells major home appliances north of Dallas. She says her hottest items right now are also among her priciest.
More of our high-end appliances are going right now. So Sub-Zero, Wolf, Cove, Thermador, those brands are like hotcakes.
The less expensive Whirlpools and Frigidaires, those aren't moving as much. Dahl has a working theory why: a sluggish housing market.
I see a lot of people doing remodels instead of buying new. So, they've got money in their pockets and they are getting the good stuff.
Home sales are down from their post-pandemic highs in Dallas and nationally. And the appliance market is married to the housing market. When someone buys a home, they spend about $2,700 on new appliances. When someone buys a newly constructed home, they spend even more, says economist Robert Dietz at the National Association of Home Builders.
In a year where you've got single-family housing construction down, that's going to be downward pressure for appliance makers and retailers.
The housing market is the big reason Whirlpool's net sales have dropped this year compared to last, at least through summer. You'd think tariffs would actually help. 80% of Whirlpool's manufacturing is based in the U.S., while leading competitors like Samsung and LG make a lot of their products in Asia. Rafe Jadrosich at Bank of America says those tariffs really haven't changed much.
So far, we've not seen major market share shifts.
Because tariffs haven't quite forced those giant multinational corporations with other lines of business to raise prices, at least not yet. I'm Matt Levin for Marketplace.
Turns out the third quarter was pretty good for Whirlpool. It announced earnings after the bell today. Sales and profits both up. Elsewise, on Wall Street, 3 more record highs. On major indices, we will have the details when we do the numbers. Another way to get around the dearth of government economic data is by getting on the phone, calling our regulars to get some ground truth out there. Today's lucky winner is Austin Golding. He's the CEO of Golding Barge Line in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Austin, it's good to talk to you again.
Hey, Kat, thanks for having me back.
First question, which I'm sure you know by heart right now. How's business?
Business is pretty good. It's steady. We have a little bit of excess barges. We have too much equipment out there right now for a number of, kind of internal reasons. We overbuilt 10 years ago, and a lot of those barges are still in the market, and some of their required maintenance has come up, and the government shutdown has affected a little bit of that licensing where we've had some problems with that. But for the most part, business is very strong and demand is high.
The other thing that government shutdown-wise that I was looking at is the Corps of Engineers, which obviously controls the water level on the river, which directly affects how you do your job. Is that a thing now, or is the Corps of Engineers still working? How's the water level? What's up with the actual environment of your job?
Well, right now the water levels are low. The Corps of Engineers has still been able to maintain all of our waterways from an essential standpoint. But the longer we have this shutdown, the more soft spots are going to get exposed. You never know what you got until it's gone, and we're slowly figuring out what that is.
So, all right, here's a technical question, which, as I'm about to formulate it, seems kind of silly. But the lower the water level is, the less stuff you can put in your barges, right? And that also affects your business and your bottom line.
No question. Low water affects us much more than high water. The impact of low water is fewer barges in the tow and less cargo on those barges because of reduced drafts. So, it's been a hard run of low water the last 5 years. So we were headed that way pretty sharply 3 weeks ago, and we've gotten a little reprieve with this rain here. But if you look out 30 days, it still looks like we need more rain to maintain a really viable system.
How often do you check the weather?
Every day. Every single day we check water levels. But our customers are not just checking what's the water doing today. We get updated forecasts about what it's going to do a month out, which affects a lot of their supply chain decisions. So if we're telling them what the weather is today, we're a month late. My competition's probably already let them know.
Yeah, good point. Talk to me about what you are carrying. It's traditionally been a lot of petroleum stuff. You carrying other stuff as well now?
Yes, a lot of petroleum. That's still about 80 to 90% of our business in a given year. But lately, we've been moving a lot of rock and limestone and building material. And I'll tell you, Kyle, we are in the data center hotspot of the country.
Really?
It feels like.
Oh, that's so interesting. Say more about that.
Well, right now we have, just right outside of Vicksburg, we have Meta's largest project here in Louisiana, right across the river going in. ExxonMobil is poking around north of us. So we have a lot of construction going on here, and so that requires a lot of material. So the rock business has really taken off, and there's a lot of material moving into this part of the country.
That is so interesting. And along those lines, not to cast aspersion on Jay Powell, but you have, I think, a pretty good sense of the macroeconomy, right? There's a lot of things that influence your business. You keep an eye on a lot of things. How you feeling short to medium term-ish about your business, but also sort of the larger economy?
Well, I tell you, we're seeing, I think, an unreported struggle within the economy. Some of the products we move that go into making plastic materials or paint, those businesses are really off right now. That being said, there's a lot of volume of gasoline and diesel being moved, and we're seeing new materials come online, mainly around construction. The consumer side, it seems like, is struggling more than some of the larger projects.
I did a talk this weekend with a business school professor, and one of the questions from the floor was, how do you think the economy is doing? The question I just asked you. And he said he thinks it's on a razor's edge. He thinks it's really, really finely balanced. And I said, well, sort of more like a dull knife edge. What do you think?
I certainly think that there's a lot of people in this country that are doing really well, but I'm afraid there might be more that aren't. And I think the ones that are doing well are carrying us, and the ones that aren't have a different story to tell and are under a lot of pressure. For our business, it's critical that we're tied into the right products in the right geographic areas and the right customers, because if we're not, there are certain players out there that are not having the type of year that some of our partners are.
Austin Golding at the family business, Golding Barge Lines in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Austin, good to talk to you as always. Thanks for your insights.
Thank you, Kai.
The top 3 agricultural commodities in the great state of Texas are, in reverse order, dairy at number 3, chicken and eggs in second, and on top and going away, cattle. Perhaps related, Texas prides itself on its barbecue, as you might know, with restaurants by the thousands all over that state. So the give or take 15% increase in beef prices this year cuts both ways. Pitmasters are dealing with those high prices, while cattle producers are outperforming in the agricultural sector. Marketplace's Elizabeth Troval has more on that one.
Brisket, ribs, and sausage are just a few of the staples Chef Ernest Cervantes serves at his restaurant Burnt Bean Company in Seguin, Texas. But the menu has changed.
We no longer serve the famous Texas dinosaur beef ribs. We don't do those anymore because of the prices.
Brisket has to stay on the menu because this is Texas. But these days, it's not profitable.
We tend to make more of our money off of poultry and pork products. So whenever people say, how many briskets do you go through? I cringe because when I see my weekly beef bill, I could buy a car. You know what I mean?
About 150 miles east of Cervantes Barbecue Restaurant, Damian Turner raises a small herd of cattle outside of Houston. As a small-scale producer, he has to be really careful about costs. For example, after the pandemic, he struggled to pay for hay to feed his cows.
Round bales of hay was up to almost $200 a round bale, and usually then anywhere from 50 to 75. And so you can imagine paying double the price you had for one round bale.
Drought made the hay expensive, so selling his cows wasn't profitable. But now hay is cheaper and beef prices are way up.
But now it's profitable pretty much. And so if you go sell a cow now, you still have money left over after you buy feed and things like that.
Turner says he gets a 10 to 15% profit for each calf he sells. And those numbers are why economist David Anderson with Texas A&M says some ranchers are expanding their herds.
High prices really encourage expanding production.
Still, a young heifer born this last spring won't have her first calf until 2027.
That calf is not going to get to its final full-grown weight and head to a meat packer for about 20 months after that.
So while high prices will help boost the cattle supply eventually, it's going to take a while. I'm Elizabeth Troval for Marketplace.
There's news of consolidation in the regional banking industry today. Huntington Bancshares, based in Ohio, is buying Cadence Bank out of Texas and Mississippi for nearly $7.5 billion. It's the latest in a slew of regional deals. And Huntington and Cadence have both already made acquisitions this year, along with Fifth Third, PNC, and Pinnacle. Why now the buying spree, though? And what's it going to mean for the people and businesses that use those banks, do you suppose? Daniel Ackerman has that one.
The banking industry is changing quickly, says Meg Tyre, head of financial institutions at the law firm Davis Polk.
A lot of banks just need more scale to survive in the next generation.
More scale as in more assets on the balance sheet to invest in new technology, like building fancy apps for mobile banking.
Every regional bank needs to make it as fun as Robinhood makes it.
And Tyre says consolidation can free up cash to make that happen. Another driver of the recent acquisitions is pent-up demand, says Jeremy Kress, a professor of business law at the University of Michigan.
Over the past several years, regional banks were reluctant to merge during the Biden administration, which was seen as unfriendly toward bank consolidation.
Whereas the Trump administration is encouraging it, says Kress.
A lot of regional banks are trying to strike while the iron is hot, while the regulatory environment is friendly.
Kress says consolidation can allow banks to offer more services and better fraud protection. At the same time,
when regional banks merge with the ambition of competing with Wall Street banks, they tend to lose focus on their local communities.
Which could make it harder for outside-the-box small business ideas to get loans. Consolidation can also mean less favorable interest rates, says Alexander Yoakum, a bank analyst at CFRA.
There's less competition. That means they can offer you lower rates on your deposits. And then on the other side, maybe they can charge you more on their loans as well. So I mean, net, probably a negative for consumers to have fewer banks.
For now, Yoakum says the U.S. still has a healthy mix of national, regional, and community banks. But he says there's likely more consolidation to come. I'm Daniel Ackerman for Marketplace.
Coming up.
We've got horror, thriller, true crime.
Nope. But maybe that's just me. First, let's do the numbers. Dow Industrial's up 337 points today, 0.7%, 47,544. But here's why you got the happy music, the really happy music. NASDAQ up 432, 1.9%, 23,637. The S&P 500 gained 83 points, 1.25%, 68.75. Daniel Ackerman was just telling us about regional banking. Huntington Bancshares, the acquirer in today's news, gave back 2.2%. Cadence Bank, the acquiree, pocketed about 4.4% today. Fifth Third Bancorp slipped 0.4%. Pinnacle Financial Partners decreased about 1.5%. Whirlpool, Matt Levin was telling us about them earlier, nudged up just shy of 0.2% on the day. Lululemon Athletica announced a deal with the National Football League to issue clothing collections for all 32 teams in the National Football League. The yoga wear company picked up 1.8%. Bond prices went up. When that happens, the yield goes down. The yield on the 10-year Treasury note, 3.98%. And you're listening to Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Revenued, providing working capital for businesses whose cash flow is holding them back. Approvals based on revenue, not credit, and funds available in a day at getrevenued.com. And by Drexel University, whose cooperative education program provides students with opportunities to explore future careers and gain professional experience before graduation. More at drexel.edu. And by JLL, a commercial real estate firm using data and AI to transform how clients find, manage, and invest in properties around the world. JLL.com. JLL. See a brighter way.
The new documentary, The Alabama Solution, tells the story of a group of incarcerated men who joined together to expose the violent treatment they experience at the hands of prison guards. On the next All of It, the directors join us to discuss. Plus, we'll mark the 25th anniversary of Radiohead's fourth album, Kid A. I'm Allison Stewart. Join us for All of It weekdays at noon on WNYC.
WNYC support comes from Drexel University, whose cooperative education program positions students to explore future careers and discover their ideal profession before graduation. More about experiential education at drexel.edu.
You're listening to Marketplace on WNYC. In the 7 o'clock hour of All Things Considered, soon the impacts of the government shutdown could get notably worse. Several federal programs are set to run out of money at the start of next month. We'll get a state of play on the shutdown at 7 o'clock. Stay tuned.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Rizdal. With one eye on the monetary policy calendar, that is to say, the Federal Reserve meets tomorrow and Wednesday on interest rates. Herewith, this observation. At the central bank's last meeting in September, Chair Powell called the decision at that meeting to lower their key interest rate a risk management cut. The risk being managed was a then already sluggish labor market, possibly weakening further. Businesses across the economy are seeing that play out in real time now. So Marketplace's Justin Ho made some calls to hear how business owners are thinking about their own risk management decisions.
Business has been fairly shaky this year at Fearless Foundry, a marketing and consulting firm near Seattle. Owner Madeline Reeves says many of her clients have been nervous about the economy, so they're nervous about spending money too. Some of them are even ghosting her.
I think there is this moment where people
get excited or want to initiate a project, and then because they're not confident in spending money right now, they just kind of like, rather than giving us a firm no, just kind of like disappear.
Reeves says all of that uncertainty has her questioning what her business should be spending money on, especially when it comes to staff.
Who are the people we need? What are the projects that we are going to have coming through? Do we have the right capacity on our team? Do we need to hire? Do we need to fire people?
Reeves says hiring people can be risky since there's always a chance that a new hire might not work out.
We have easily spent probably close to $50,000+, maybe close to $100,000 on staff that are no longer with us because they didn't perform at the level that it was expected in their job descriptions.
So Reeves says she's not hiring. Instead, she's focused on improving the business itself, using new software to help existing staff manage projects.
Because, one, it doesn't really make sense to pay a person to do that job if a system can do it instead. And two, if I'm struggling to find somebody who will show up and do that role with consistency, I would rather have a system in place because then my clients aren't impacted if the person is not performing.
There are still plenty of businesses that want to hire.
If we found qualified candidates, we would probably hire 25 to 30 more people across all of our operations at this point.
That's Spiro Papadopoulos. He's the CEO of Schlau Restaurant Group, which operates 7 restaurants in several states. He says he's struggling to find candidates to be lead bartenders, kitchen managers, and other creative talent. As a result, he's raised wages, and he's offering more perks to his existing staff.
So offering even more flexible scheduling, better benefits, cross-training them, investing in their development in maybe the next step of their career. To try and retain those people that are so valuable to us.
Papadopoulos says all of that comes at a cost. So he's decided to limit the number of days many of his restaurants are open. That lets him avoid having to hire extra staff just to keep them open, even on slow days.
We pay rent on every day, whether it's a Monday lunch or a Friday night. We want to be open, but there's some operations that cost more to staff than revenue that will come in during the time that the staff is there.
Other businesses are trying to navigate this moment by getting bigger. Stinner Frameworks is a bike frame manufacturer in Santa Barbara, California.
We've been cautious, but we're at a point where we literally can't even fit any more bodies inside of our shop. So we have to grow and spread out.
CEO Aaron Stinner says the company is in the process of moving into a new space with double the square footage. It also just hired a new welder, and Stinner's hoping to hire a couple more.
One way to get more efficient is to hire. And another way to do it is to have space where you can have better tooling and better setups and better ways to make product more efficiently, which should eventually lead to more output.
Making more frames will help the company bring in more revenue and build up a buffer in case the economy takes a turn for the worse.
If it swings and sales slow for some reason, you have the ability to just absorb that because you're not riding that line super hard, the make or break line financially.
And if the economy doesn't slow and demand stays strong, a bigger operation will help the company grow even faster. I'm Justin Howe for Marketplace.
I think we've talked about the boom in romance novels a time or two. They are selling lots and lots of copies. There is, though, another genre that's growing, horror. Not just a Halloween thing either. Horror book sales were up 7% the first 9 months of 2025. That's compared to the same period a year earlier. And it gets us to today's installment of our series, My Economy.
My name is Trinity Beck. I'm 24 years old, and I own the Dreadful Bookshop in Casper, Wyoming. The Dreadful Bookshop is an all-horror bookstore. Right now it's all used books, but we're planning on bringing some new books into our inventory. We've got horror, thriller, true crime. We even have some kids' books and young adult books. I moved to Casper from Texas about a year ago. I found a job at another used bookstore in town, and then Christy, she's the owner of Bookin' It, and she also bought the whole building that her bookstore is in, which is how I was able to open my store, was because there's old apartments upstairs. So I turned one of the old apartments into my bookshop. My grand opening was Friday the 13th of June, and I definitely didn't expect the amount of people that did show up. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and my shop's not very big, so I had to have people wait outside because it was becoming like a fire safety hazard. I actually sold out of pretty much everything that I had in the shop that day. Business is going pretty good right now. I am surprised that October so far has been my slowest month, which I thought would be the complete opposite, but it's still going good. It's been a dream of mine to open a bookstore. I never thought that I would actually be able to do it. But when I got my job working at a bookstore, even that was like, oh, this is a dream job. This is probably as close as I'll get to opening my own bookstore. Even thinking back on it now, like when I started working on that space for the shop, it looked completely different, and I was so scared, and I was like, this is never gonna happen. Like, this is never gonna work. But it did, and it's been going really well. When I moved here, I had 4 jobs. Do not recommend. Very stressful. Had a breakdown a week probably, but it was what I needed to do at the time. Being able to have one job and still be able to pay for everything and travel every once in a while and do all those things is insane. I actually think about that a lot because last year around this time, like, I was struggling a lot financially, and this year I can buy groceries whenever I need to. I can go out to the movies if I want to. If friends invite me out to dinner, I don't have to say no because I can't afford it. So for personal finances, it has been great.
It's a good story, huh? Trinity Beck. She runs the Dreadful Bookshop in Casper, Wyoming. Let us know what's going on with you, would you? You can do it at marketplace.org/myeconomy.
Marketplace is supported by Progressive Insurance, providing direct car insurance rates side by side with other insurance carriers. Customers can see rates and find an option that works for their needs. Now that's Progressive. Learn more at progressive.com. And by Odoo, dedicated to providing software designed to scale with businesses. Odoo's programs for manufacturing, accounting, and more aim to provide building blocks for creating a custom software suite. Odoo, what businesses need.
This final note on the way out today, which simply must be offered with this caveat: what could possibly go wrong? Saw this in The Verge last week that Nike is out with something called Project Amplify, that it is branding as, and this is a quote, the world's first powered footwear system. Kind of looks like a brace or something on your calf with a battery pack and a motor that powers your feet, I guess. Still in testing, but coming to consumers at some point. Again, what could possibly go wrong? Amir Bibawi, Caitlin Esch, John Gordon, Noya Carr, Amanda Peter, and Stephanie Seek are the Marketplace editing staff. Kelly Silvera is the news director, and I'm Kai Risdal. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.
WNYC is supported by the New Jersey Performing Arts Center.